Market conditions is a great tool to just see as a carrier what the market, I mean, because you're doing it from a carrier perspective, right, Kamal?
From carrier perspective / dispatcher perspective.
Sure. So from a carrier perspective, this is a great map to tell you what the market looks like if you have a van, flat or reefer. Right now, it looks like you're looking at the van map, and as a now you're looking at flatbed. And so what you're seeing is a heat map here. You're seeing a lot of blues, you're seeing a lot of reds, and a lot of in between. So as a carrier, what you're particularly excited about is red. The redder in a market, the more opportunity there's going to be for you. Why don't you go ahead and click on that red market you see over on the West Coast there?
Here.
There you go.
Okay.
All right. So what you're seeing there, let me move my little video window so I can actually see that info. Okay, so what you're looking at there, if you look on the right-hand side, you can see it's very tight. First of all, it's plus 98, which is damn near at the peak there at 100. And the reason why that we say it's very tight capacity, if you look to the right, you can see some raw numbers from our database yesterday. And so, for instance, you can see the load to truck ratio is 36.2. That's to the right of that. And that what that's showing you is that there's 36.2 flatbed loads for every one flatbed truck. And we can show you the raw numbers right down below that as well, where yesterday there was 362 flatbed loads posted in the Medford market. There was only 10 trucks. So as a carrier, when you see a market like that, that means you're in demand, right? I mean, you're going to go to that area and you're going to have brokers with loads fighting over the limited capacity of trucks there are in that area. So for instance, if you had a broker saying, hey, I got a hot load going to Medford, are you interested? Yeah, you're interested, because when you get to Medford, you're going to find a load coming back, and it's going to be a higher paying load because they're going to compete with you. Now, they're going to compete with each other, I should say, for you. Now, conversely, why don't you go ahead and click on the market right below that, or Idaho, the blue market in Idaho.
Okay.
Oh, Seattle will work too. What you see there, that works. I mean, you can see the numbers there. We call it very loose. It's a lot worse for a carrier. Why? Because there's only 152 loads in that area. There's not a lot of loads in the Seattle area. The ratio looks pretty good, 7.6 to 1, but the volume of loads is just not quite there. So if you have a broker trying to send you to Seattle, I got a hot load going to Seattle. Well, before I say yes, I kind of want to look at the Seattle market and see what it looks like. Because if it's a terrible market that this broker is trying to send me to, well, that's what I'm going to try to get a higher rate going there. And I'll use the numbers against the broker. I'll say, listen, you're trying to send me to an area where there's very little loads. How the hell am I supposed to get out of there? I'm going to need to make a little bit more money going there, delivering your load for you if you want me to go there. And that's how they're using this whole map here, is to figure out what that area looks like before I even go there. Inbound shows you the exact opposite. Basically, it's saying, hey, look, when you click on inbound and click on a market like you have right now, we're showing you that there are 100 in this market. There are 152 loads on their way to Seattle right now, 20 trucks. So it shows you that there's loads there's loads heading there, and that means that there's going to be some truck capacity there, right? If there's 152 loads heading to Seattle, that means that there's 152 trucks likely heading to Seattle, dropping off those loads, potentially increasing the capacity for Seattle in the next few days. As a carrier, I'm mostly focused on the outbound because I want to know what a market looks like before I go there. And so anytime I'm looking for a load, or anytime a broker calls me up and says, I have a load, are you interested? Before I'm deciding if I'm interested or not, I want to know what that market looks like. Where are you sending me? Because if you're sending me to a black hole where there's no loads, I need to make more money going there. If you're sending me to a place that, where there's a lot of loads, well, then great. I'm just, I'll likely take the rate that you're offering. Maybe not the rate that I want, but I'll take the rate that you're offering, because I know when I get there that I'm going to have plenty of opportunity to make a lot of money because they're going to compete for me.
No, I see. So if I'm going from Los Angeles, California to Orlando, Florida, pays me good money, but then before I decide to take that load, I need to check what are the loads coming out of Florida.
Yeah, like click on Florida over there, Orlando. Click on the Orlando market right now.
Let's see. This is which one
That's
is
the
Orlando?
that's the Lakeland market, I think.
So let's
So,
go to Orlando. There you
which
go.
includes Orlando. That
Yeah,
includes Orlando.
right.
So you can see that right now it's like, well, there, it's 8.5. You're looking at inbound. Go to outbound.
Let's go outbound.
Yeah. So you're looking at 238 loads coming out of Florida right now, out of that market, and only 28 trucks. It's moderately tight because that's a pretty good ratio right there. 8.5 loads for each one truck, and the
Mhm.
238 loads is actually a pretty good volume for. Actually, it's a really good volume for Florida. Florida is usually pretty bad and pretty
Yes.
blue. So in this case, am I willing to go to Florida? Yeah, a lot more than if it was blue and I saw that there was one load for every one truck. That this is a way better market, a way more appealing market for me as a carrier.
Cool. Okay. So like anything like I have to look like optimize, I don't know, like a tips and tricks here. It's just like this is how it works. Just inbound, outbound. Mostly I use for outbound.
Yeah, mostly I'm looking at outbound, determining whether a market is good for me to go to or is going to be challenging for me to go to.
Okay. So when you do these types of searches, are you looking for like region, state? What are
I,
these like three
I
digits?
yeah, yeah, I leave it on market is actually the best one in my opinion, the best view. It's going
Okay.
to get some of the best data because if you like go to state, for instance,
Okay.
you
Let's go
click
there.
on state. The reason why I say, leave it, it didn't update. Yeah, there we go. The reason why I say market's the best is like look at state for instance. It's telling you there we go. It's telling you that California is moderate right now. It's very neutral. But
Neutral.
as we
Yeah.
saw, yeah, but go ahead and click back on market.
Yeah.
Now look at California. California is not neutral. If you average the whole state together, it's neutral. But look, Northern California is freaking hot. It's great. You'd love to go there as a carrier.
Mm,
Where Central California and Southern California, you're like, maybe not. It's not so good. So
mm,
when you're looking at the state level, it's kind of deceiving, because it's taking all of that state and averaging it together and giving you and basically a market condition where if you're looking at the market itself, it really does show you what parts of the state are hot and what parts of the state are not.
I
So
see.
market is by far the best. 3-digit zip works too, but if you click on 3-digit zip, you'll see that it gets a little busy. Kamal, it's a little busy. It's
Okay, let's see.
a
I think it's
very
yeah,
detailed
16.
map.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. So that breaks it down even further to isolate even smaller areas, basically focus on cities in here.
Mm,
So that is another view of it. I prefer the market just because I think it's a cleaner view. It's
cleaner.
easier
Yeah.
to read. Where this one does give you better data, but it's also it's a little harder to read at the 3-digit level. So it's
Okay.
really preference, Kamal. It's really preference, whatever you like. The 3-digit zip will give you a better idea of that particular area that you're talking about, though.
Okay. So prior day or the current day?
Prior day is the best one because it's actually showing you the actual totals,
Mm,
where current day is not. Current day actually shows you what we're predicting today will be. It's almost like a forecast of today. It's not going off of actual load and truck totals that we have in our database. It's more of a prediction.
mhm. Okay, cool. I think it's pretty straightforward. So I think I can also compare like one outbound for one state and then the inbound for another state. Like I can compare side by
Yeah,
side.
and you can actually side by side. If you see ad search in the upper right hand corner, if you click on that, it'll bring up a second map, and then one can be an inbound map and one can be an outbound map, and
Okay,
then you can do your side by side comparisons that way.
I see. Okay, so I can
Yes,
also compare like van to flatbed, flatbed to van, or something like that.
exactly. Yep.
Cool.
You can
Great.
compare outbound to outbound or outbound to inbound. You really have unlimited choices in here.
Okay. How important to use this tool, like for carriers and freight dispatchers, like on daily
Super,
operation?
super important. I mean, if you want to make sure that you're getting the best rates, if you want to make sure that you're giving yourself the best chance to stay loaded, then you're using this tool.
Mm,
I mean, for instance, if you're not using this tool and you say, "Yeah, I'll love to take that hot load you have going to Nevada," Well,
Hmm.
you're going to regret that, Kamal. You're going to
Yeah.
regret that because you're going to get to Nevada and be like, oh my God, what did I do? Now I have to drive all the way to Northern California from Nevada just to get a hot load. Yeah, that's why. I mean, if you want to stay loaded, you want to make sure that where you're going has loads. And if it doesn't, you're trying to make money from the broker that's sending you there.
Yeah, I think brokers, they use this type of tools. They know, like, if they pay high, usually where it's like, man, I need to double check. So if they pay, well, this lane usually not pays much, but then like, oh, if this guy pays like 2,000 more, then something happens in that state. So when I go and do research and I say, oh man, that's slow there. So coming out of that particular state, it's really bad.
Yeah, that's exactly how I would use it, Kamal. So you're in Rayview right now, and it looks like you're looking at contract shipper to contract rates. So
I'm
this
more
is
interested.
you're looking.
I'm more interested, like brokers pays to carrier.
Okay, do you see down below where it says comparative rate? Or actually, what if you're interested in that, why don't you go to your settings here? Let me you see a little gear in the upper right hand corner, click on that.
Yeah, let me move this. There you go. Okay.
There you go. And then from here, go to broker, not shipper, or
Okay, bro.
carrier, actually. You can go to carrier, your
Carrier.
carrier. And then you want to focus on broker to carrier spot, and per mile works fine. Go ahead and hit save there. And that'll flip it over to the broker to carrier spot rate. There you go. So orange, that's what you're looking for. And this is the average rate that a broker pays a carrier over time. And you're looking at a 13-month history of that right now. So you can see the rate used to be, 272 back in last January. This January, it's all the way down to 217. So you can see the rate overall in this lane has fluctuated some, but overall it's down from where it was last year. And that's pretty much what you're seeing in all markets right now, Kamal,
Right.
is rates are down across the board historically from where they were a year ago. And this kind of proves it to you. What else you're seeing here, Kamal, is in the upper right, well, in the upper left-hand corner, you're seeing the market conditions. So the map that we were just on, you're seeing a little snapshot of that right here. We're showing you that the market, the Atlanta market right now is pretty tight capacity. It's redder, right? Where
Mhm.
the market you're going to in this case is pretty loose. It's blue, and so that's coming right from our market conditions, just feeding it right here.
Okay.
Um, to the right, what you're seeing is the actual rate right now based on looks like you're looking at a 7-day rate. So in the last 7 days, the average rate from the Atlanta market to the Los Angeles market is $2.05 a mile, and that does include fuel.
Fuel.
52 cents. 52 cents of that is fuel. So that if you're asking if the rate includes fuel, yes, it does. Um, and yeah, and you could tell that we got that rate because we got nine different rates from 7 different companies in that lane. So we took that information, those 7 rates, or I'm sorry, those 9 rates that we got from those 7 companies, and we averaged them together. And what do we come up with? A low rate of 191, a high rate of 217, and the average rate of 205 right now.
Okay.
And so
Michael,
that,
help me here to read this. So basically, this in the middle, this one is like average.
yeah, yep.
On the top,
High end of the range, bottom, low end of the range. Just
longer.
like we're showing you up in that box, we're showing you the average, the low, and the high. We're showing you the average, low, and the high historically as well.
Okay. So basically, this shows me like this is currently Atlanta market, this is the Los Angeles market, and this you said 9 reports and 7 companies.
Yeah, that's how much data is making up this. We have to have a minimum of 3 different companies donating at least 7 different rates. If we don't have that, then we take you from a 7-day rate and move you to a 15. You
Okay.
notice how your look at your slider bars over there for a second, Kamal. You
Which
see
one?
how it says the slider bars on the left-hand side, those little blue
Oh,
slider
these.
bar.
Okay. Okay.
Notice how that one's on 7-day,
Yeah.
right? Okay, well, it's not on 3-day. Go ahead and try to drag it to 3-day. You won't be able to.
No, it doesn't.
And yeah, the reason why is we have to have at least 3 different companies donating 7 different rates. And so we didn't have that at the 3-day in the last 3 days, but when we went out 7 days, we had enough reports and enough companies to give you a rate. And
Mm.
so the rate view will always give you the best rate possible. If it can't give you a 3-day, it'll auto expand and give you a 7-day rate. If it can't give you a 7-day rate, it'll go all the way out to 15 days and so on and so forth. So that's why you're seeing a 7-day rate. If you type in a different search, for instance, like go from Fresno, do a reefer from Fresno, California to Chicago, Illinois. That lane a lot of times gives me a 3-day rate. So I was trying to get you to see a 3-day rate there. But you can see in this case, it's still a 7-day rate, but 16 different rates from 8 different companies makes up that rate right there. And the more companies and rates, the better the average, right? If you're only averaging 6 rates, that's not going to be as accurate as if you're averaging 60 rates. You know, that's the more data, the better. So in this case, you're seeing a lot more data, which is going to mean that that rate is even more accurate right there. So we're looking at the freight bills, Kamal, from all these
freight
people that we
bills,
call
the rate
contributors.
confirmations.
Yes, we're looking at the rate confirmation, the freight
Yeah.
bills. It says this load from Fresno to Chicago. As a broker, I paid this carrier
Gotcha.
$4,000.
I see now. Now it's much
Take
clearer.
all those, take all those freight bills from all those different people, average them together, and you have this rate view database.
Now make total sense. So what if I'm like want to look at as I'm a carrier, but how much shippers pay to carrier?
On the right hand side where it says comparative rates and it has shipper to carrier, there you go. Just hover over it.
This one.
Yep, there you go. There's a shipper to carrier contract rate in the same time frame. You can see what shippers are paying carriers, which of course tends to be more, right? Shippers pay carriers more because there's no broker in the middle taking any of the money out.
Oh, okay. So basically this pays like a high, this is the low, and then this is the middle.
Yep, same for the shipper contract as it is the broker. Yep.
Okay, awesome. Is there like you mentioned something like new updates came as far as like map you said, and then carriers freaking out?
Yeah, we had we updated the mobile app.
Oh, it's a mobile app.
Yeah, we have a mobile app, and we updated the mobile app, and we made the map in there collapsed by default. So instead of always being open at the top of their screen, it's collapsed. So they have to click on it to open it up now, and that caused people to call because they didn't realize that they had to just tap on it to open it up.
I see.
You know, so people were calling in saying your map is broken. It's like, no, just tap on it. Does it work? Yeah, okay. You know, so they just didn't realize that we just collapsed it to save room.
I see.
Apparently we didn't do a good enough job of communicating that because it did generate quite a few calls, people freaking out that they couldn't see their map anymore.
So how important to use is lane makers?
Lane makers is a great tool for carriers that are working in lanes that they're just not familiar with. Let's say that you just contracted with Boeing. And so you're going to be up in Seattle picking up a load and dropping it off in Houston once a month or twice a month. Well, now that you're in Houston, how do you find loads in Houston going back to your home? Let's say you live in Denver. Well, the Houston to Denver market's going to be an important market for you now. So it might behoove you to meet some brokers that have loads in that Houston to whatever I said market. So how you use lane makers is, let's say that you want to find brokers that work a specific lane that you're going to be hauling in now. So in here, you come in here and you change it from carrier activity to broker activity. You're looking to see what brokers are doing. And then, both is fine. And then for trucks, you're going to put in your equipment type.
Okay, so let's do flatbed.
I would, just do any flatbed then.
Any flatbed. Do we have that option here?
Yeah, you switch to only, so go back to any.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And then just choose flatbed.
Flatbed.
There
okay,
you go.
Cool. So
and then for origin, just put in a city that you're coming out of and a city that you're going to.
Okay. Let's do Atlanta, Georgia, and goes to Houston.
There you go. Okay. All right, so this is going to show you brokers that you might be interested in contacting, hopefully, when it pops up.
Okay, cool.
There we go. Okay, so here you go. So we're suggesting here are 20 different brokers that you might be interested in contacting. And the very first one on your list, that company we suggest to you as an option because in the last 30 days, they have posted 17 loads from Atlanta to Houston. See the load postings over there? Yeah, so you can see in the last 30 days how many load postings these companies are doing in that exact lane that you just typed in. So this company had 17 loads from Atlanta to Houston. They might have more now, Kamal. That would be a good company if they have that many loads. That might be a good company to reach out to. The company right below that has 11 and then 10 and so on and so forth. So we're basically just showing you the posting activity of the broker in that area. So you can see, hey, that might be one I want to contact and have them put me on their radar. So when they have loads, they're contacting me about those because I'm in this lane all the time now. And that's
Mhm.
the idea of lane. It's that's all it does. It's very simple and straightforward. Here are people that you might want to do business with because of the way they post their loads.
I think it would
Makes
be,
sense.
great to see like these people post it, but at the same time, like seeing the rates for the last 7 days, for example. I was like, okay, if I'm driving from Atlanta to Los Angeles, California, and I built this lane and I know how much they pay, but now I want to kind of try a different alley and let's see what happens from Atlanta to, let's say, Nashville, Tennessee. And then there's a brokers popped up and then the different loads they posted, but at the same time you see the rates. That would be awesome.
Yeah, we show you if they have any active postings. That's what the parentheses are all about. So if it said 17 parentheses two, that would mean that they actually have two loads right now that are posted. But as far as the rates, yeah, we kind of make you go through all of our products, right? I mean, if you want to market conditions, you're going to go over there now and check out the market in these lanes. And then you'll have to go back to rate view to check out the rate in these lanes.
Mm.
Um, we are consolidating a lot of stuff into DAT1. So what you're asking for is on the horizon as we move all of our features into DAT1. Lane makers will be moved into DAT1 as well. It just hasn't happened yet, but this old UI, this old interface will look different as it gets moved into DAT1 here in the future.